Hey everyone, in this episode we're going to give you our top 10 list for the best films of 2018. This is episode 107 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 107 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Just wanted to remind you guys what episode you're listening to. Yes. I am Donnie.
And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer, Ruben.
He is Ruben.
Hi, and... Okay, you got to think of one right now.
Come on.
Come on, anything. It can be any movie quote, Ruben, anything. Dude, does
this poster that we have,
La La Land,
does this calendar
something
say
from...
I can't be put on the spot. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Donnie, give us a La La Land one. We'll substitute one.
Yeah, come on, tell us
I mean, I can tell you the whole movie. He says, I'll give you a Sebastian one. Oh my. It's very simple, but me and my sister laugh at that one all the time.
I think I found 5 different movies that also say. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I'll give you a longer one. No, never mind.
All I know is that whole, this is Pishikaka, whatever.
Pishikaka.
Yeah, that's the only one.
That's what he says.
That's the one that sticks out to me.
Look at Louis Armstrong. What did he do? Well, what did he do? Well, he changed history. That's what he did. Well, I'm going to stop auditioning, and then I'm going to change history. Sorry.
Okay, that works.
I'll stop there.
That works. He got it. It clicked. So
It all came to me like a wave. It hit me. Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this very special episode because Oscar and I are going to share our top 10 list of our favorite movies of 2018. Yes. Right before we get into that, I just want to mention that we are on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Team Reel-ists. That's Team REELISTS, no dash. You can also communicate with us on iTunes and YouTube. You can leave us some comments. You can rate us on iTunes if you're feeling extra motivated. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
If it's your first time listening, this is a very, very great episode to listen to.
It's like our 1 anniversary, like our true 1 anniversary, like not our 100th episode. But
yeah, it is because our very first episode was our top 10 list of 2017. So if you want to see where it all began,
you really want to see the true progress,
then go back and listen to episode 1. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be a fun episode. I'm excited. Oscar's excited. We've been spending so much time trying to compile this list. Before we get into our list, Oscar, why don't you tell the listeners how you comprised your list this year?
Yes. So my list is essentially movies that I walked out of the theater, and it's very similar to my last year criteria, so it's not too different. But I walked out of the theater satisfied with the story I was being told. And I will clarify, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sequel is needed, but I would like to see more. So that kind of adds to it as well. And there's either a moment in the movie or a story or of the story or a character that really just I was able to connect with, that went the long way after the movie, thinking about it afterwards and still being able to have that kind of positive impact.
Okay.
So yeah, there's more of just that gave me a story that I walked away with satisfied rather than I need more answers or the pacing, those details aren't really being factored into it. But yeah, just the overall performance of the movie, I guess.
Okay. I gotcha. My criteria is pretty much, it's a multitude of things. No, I definitely look at...
The Donnie Award.
I know, right? I definitely look at... So this year, cinematography, a lot of the films that I picked on my list, or I thought were really, really... had really good editing and cinematography. So apparently that's been like a big thing with me this year. I go through phases where like certain things are more important than others on different years. But this one, cinematography and editing was a big one. Obviously, actors' performances is always a big one for me. Just the portrayal. Rewatchability is a big one for me. If I want to like rewatch it again, if I feel like I'll get something or gain something from it from a second or third viewing. And just pretty much... overall, I mean, if it was a great film, pretty much. So, yeah. So I think with that being said, before we officially start our top 10 list, we have a couple of honorable mentions.
Yes.
So Oscar, why don't you go first and tell us your honorable mentions.
So I'm gonna start off with it's not a movie honorable mention. I just want to shout out that this character was the best in the whole wide world, and that's Max from The Grinch.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yep. Yeah, I told you guys before it wasn't gonna be like that.
Yeah, I was trying to guess like what could it be?
Yeah, Max is the ideal dog that you can ever want.
Okay.
And yeah, just wanted to give him a shout out.
All right. Thank you for shouting him out.
But yes, okay, so I guess I can go to my first honorable mention. And that is for Avengers Infinity War. It did not make my top 10 list, but I understand its impact, its cultural phenomenon. Like, it had a big history to be able to accumulate 19 movies and have that strong, accumulation of, you kind of have to see all of those to get an idea of what this movie really is about. Because this movie doesn't really kind of recap. It doesn't recap at all. It just goes straight into it, and it expects everything from what you've seen in the past other movies. So, completely big cultural moment. So big for the comic book movie fans, big for blockbusters. So I understand the importance to it. So, okay. But unfortunately, as a film, it did not make my top 10.
Okay. Do you want to give us your second honorable mention?
Oh, okay. Actually, I gotta check my list. I forgot what my second honorable mention was.
My bad. Didn't mean to just put you on the spot. I can go if you want.
No. I got it. My second honorable mention, and this was one that I really liked, was Bohemian Rhapsody. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really awesome. It introduced me to Queens, and now I see myself listening to Queens more often. What'd you say?
Queen.
Oh, I said, clearly I'm still a work in progress. But yeah, no, that was just, again, that has to do more with being introduced to something that really, it was definitely big. Mm-hmm. To be able to know that all the songs that I recognized were from them, and that I listened to their music.
Nice. Those are two great honorable mentions. Two movies that definitely were at one point in my top 10, and I was really battling with them. And they didn't make my top 10, unfortunately, but they were right there. They were great films. So I'm glad you have those. I have two different honorable mentions.
Ooh, nice.
So my first honorable mention is Den of Thieves.
Okay.
And I really wanted to put that on my list, man. I thought Den of Thieves was great. Ruben, did you see that with us?
No,
okay.
Just Justin.
Justin saw that with us. It was really, really just, I loved it. It was intense. It was gritty and just like that gritty cop drama, but they're cops that don't play by the rules. Just that whole thing, and it had what a twist it had at the end. The cast was great. I loved Den of Thieves, and I think it was a great film. So unfortunately, it didn't make my list though, because there's only 10 spots. And then my second honorable mention is If Beale Street Could Talk. We just saw that one recently. One of those that the cinematography was beautiful. It had some really beautifully shot sequences, a really kind of romantic story between this young couple, and they're fighting these kind of they're fighting the times that they're in. I think it's like late 60s, early 70s, and the man gets wrongfully imprisoned. And, I won't go into detail, obviously, but I thought it was a good drama, a good love story. And Barry Jenkins, I think, delivered another beautiful film and a great follow-up to Moonlight. So those two are my honorable mentions.
Nice.
So to start off our official top 10 list, Oscar, give us your number 10.
All right. So my number 10... and I guess, are you going to mention that it's on your list if I say the movie?
Yeah, I'll mention if it's on my list.
All right, so my number 10 is A Quiet Place. Is that on your list?
No, it's not. This is where I get this is where I hate doing top 10 lists, because there's so many good ones that you want to put on your list, but they can't fit. Sorry. I'll try not to interrupt this a lot. Go ahead, Oscar.
My 1 minute's up, so just kidding. No, so yes, A Quiet Place managed to be one of those thrills that you go in the theater and you have all the hype from the the buildup of the movie's going to be quiet, they can't make sounds because that's where the creatures come and kill you. It had a strong opening with losing their son, and just had a really good story throughout that. I was completely satisfied by the end. I'm okay with getting more. We actually are getting more. There's a sequel that's coming out.
I hope it's a prequel.
I don't think it is. I think what they talked about is going to be just seeing this situation from
A different perspective.
Not just a different perspective, but like on a bigger scale. So I think they're kind of
nice too. Yeah,
kind of like what The Purge did. Where,
yeah.
But yeah, so I managed to do that, and it's not even the thing is that it's not even these characters that I really want to follow. It's just this world has caught my interest, and I was completely satisfied with the movie from at the end, and it was one of those that I wanted to kind of get more information about the creatures, like where do they come from, things that didn't exist obviously, but yeah, and it was original, so pretty cool.
And what I liked about that one too, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I read something saying John Krasinski initially wasn't trying to write a horror film. He was just trying to write, I think, a film just about like family and what they would how they would try to survive in the face of adversity, how they would overcome something or try to get through it or something like that. Okay. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, I can't confirm it, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's how it starts usually, yeah.
So, okay, great number 10 choice. My number 10 choice is Searching, which Ruben did see this one, and he's rolling his eyes right now. Ruben hated it.
He said, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
I loved it. I thought it was so great. I thought it was innovative and everything. I know a lot of people don't like that. Like the whole thing was from like computer screens and phones and webcams, and there weren't any real like shots, shot with like a real camera. Maybe there were a few scenes in there, but I loved it. And it kept me guessing. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I didn't know where this girl was. I didn't know what she was into, and it was like I was having heart palpitations. I was just so into it. It was so suspenseful. And Ruben, you cannot lie and sit here and tell me that movie was not suspenseful and that you weren't concerned for that girl for a majority of the film, and that your mind wasn't racing with things.
First half, yeah.
Okay, let's agree on that then. At least.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Okay, so yeah, it was great. I loved it. I loved the ending too. Ruben hated it. But
is Ruben's level of liking the movie in this criteria?
I mean, he's sitting right here and he saw the movie with us. So, but it was really good, and the twists and the turns I thought were just like I was like, nuh-uh. Couldn't believe, and I thought it was a great film. Yeah, it was great. It was great. That's my number 10.
Okay. It is not on my list, unfortunately. Searching is not. So
Shame on
that's
you.
how I transitioned. So it was not on my list. So, but yeah, so number 9 for me is Isle of Dogs.
That is not on my list.
Isle of Dogs was an excellent story that was told in, a unique form, not typical animation. But it was one of those that I really did appreciate that kind of. It's not a foreign film, but it's very close. It has a lot of moments that are in Chinese, but yet the movie still manages to still be good enough to be able to understand even when you don't know what they're saying, to get the gist of like, oh, they're doing something regarding the law, they're talking against the dogs and stuff. The dogs themselves were great characters. You can't help but wish you owned one of them. At least for me. I don't know about you, Donnie. I don't know if that came into mind.
No, for sure it did. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was a nice story to see a boy bond with the dogs and finding his missing dog and then having that unravel. I was completely satisfied with this film. I enjoyed the characters. I'm a dog. I'm not a dog. I'm a fan of dogs.
I'm a dog.
But yeah, so yeah, it was one of those that if we go back into Isle of Dogs 2, which there is no talks, and I don't think there is going to be one, but I would be okay with going back and getting more from these characters. So, yes.
Sweet. That's a solid choice. Love that film. My number 9 is Aquaman.
Yay!
Yeah, definitely made my top 10 list.
It made my list.
Aquaman was great, and let me say, I mean, everyone was nervous. It's a DC film. They have a reputation. I knew the film was going to be good, but how much I liked it, I did not know. What James Wan was able to accomplish, I think, was just such a great, beautifully told story. I was nervous about the visuals because I know a lot of it was going to be underwater. A lot of the sequences were going to be shot or not really shot underwater, but they were going to take place underwater.
Right.
And I thought it was going to look a little like cloudy or messy, and it didn't. Everything looked beautiful. good lighting, good visuals. The characters were fun. Jason Momoa as Aquaman was great. And then we got to introduce to some more characters in this world, in this story. We got to see our favorite character, Merc, played by Ludi Lin.
Yes.
Who we got to interview, which was awesome. So that was a treat. That was like just the cherry on top. And it was kind of surreal watching him watching the movie and going, oh my God, we spoke to him and he's such a nice guy, and a great actor. So yeah, Aquaman was just one of those like complete packages. It was like, it made me laugh. It made me feel really sentimental and heartfelt at times. And it took me on adventures. And I just thought it was a super well done film.
All right. I'm going to copy and paste that for my when it lands on my
yeah, just replay that. We'll just Ruben, edit that part onto when he announces it's on his list.
All right. So my number 8 film, Creed 2.
Yes. That's on my list. That's on my
All
list.
right. So Creed 2 was one of those that I mean, I'll be honest, we saw Creed right before we saw Creed 2, so we definitely were on the Creed hype. But it kind of feels like it's complete watching them together back to back in a way. But yeah, no, it was really good. It was a solid story to be able to go and see this, match that was supposedly, the biggest for Donnie's career. I say that, you're looking at you. And yeah, no, definitely just managed to bring these interesting characters, continuing from the first one. There was no like 180 change where they were now like completely different. Like it didn't feel like there was any of that. The story still manages to find something to tell, something different to tell than what the first one did. Despite the predictability, you still were able to enjoy what you were given. You saw that training montage that gave you that little bit of inspiration, or you probably want to, go and try to win whatever you're interested in, whether that's boxing, sports, video games, whatever the case is. It gave you that inspiration, and you'd be like, I want to go win something too. And I do not mind if we go and get a Creed 3, which I don't think there is any official talks for Creed 3, but I would be satisfied to get another one to kind of complete the trilogy. I feel like trilogies always are nice to wrap up with, but yeah. So that one was my number 8.
Okay, nice. It's definitely on my list. So great choice. My number 8 is Roma.
Oh.
Yeah, Roma made the list. So we kept hearing about it. They kept saying, Roma, this foreign film, it's getting a lot of accolades. And we were like, okay, foreign film, sure. Black and white film, sure. We'll try it. We'll give it a shot. I loved it. Loved it. One of the I think it was just visually beautiful. It was the scope that so the whole scene, the whole film takes place in Mexico City. And it's basically told through the eyes of this young female worker. But it's just one of those movies that kind of like mirrors real life. And I think it, from what the little synopsis we read, it was kind of supposed to give us some insight into like the political climate of Mexico City at that time.
Yeah.
Which we didn't get a ton of, not gonna lie. But we got more so of like what it meant to be like a lower class citizen, and to kind of have to, because the woman that the film is about a woman who's like a worker, like a maid for this family, this more wealthy family. So it's kind of just like showing her life and things that are happening. But it was just so beautifully shot. And for a black and white film, it was like sexy looking. Like, I mean, it was so, I don't know, the way they lit it was beautiful. There were so many things that were so reflective, like when you'd see a puddle on the ground and then you could see the reflection of something in it, or when a car drove by, you could see the reflection of something in the car. Everything, there was a lot of like reflection in the film. And the camera was continuously panning and scanning the entire scene, whatever scene they were filming. Sometimes it would go 360, so it made it even that much more fully immersive. And I love it when a camera really opens up like that and shows you everything around, and even in the blind spots or in your peripheral. I really, really liked it. I really dug it. And it was, some scenes were really, there's like 2 scenes I'm thinking of in particular that were pretty hard to watch. But I just thought it was a great film. I can see why it's getting all the buzz and all the critical acclaim and the accolades. And I definitely think
Best Picture?
I think it'll be up for Best Picture. And and we'll see. I think it's definitely going to get some nominations come Oscar time, and I loved it, and I thought it was great. And if you haven't seen Roma, sorry, it's on Netflix, so you can check it out.
With your Netflix subscription, or
with your Netflix
friend's Netflix subscription,
or just ask Julio to send you the password to his account. But check it out.
Okay, absolutely. Or if you can go see that limited engagement in theaters, I think it's still in some theaters.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it was a really great movie. It is not on my list, unfortunately, but because of the other movies, just had a personal spot. So
okay.
I should really just say it it doesn't matter, because I don't like to kill your thunder, but it's just like you have so much energy.
Yeah, that's really great. So that didn't make my top 10.
You have so much energy when you're just like, yes, this movie, and then I just don't want to be like in the middle. No, it's not on my list.
It's okay.
But
we said we were going to say if it's on our list or not. So.
But I agree. Yes, it was a really beautiful film. So with my number 7, Upgrade.
Upgrade's
Yes.
on my list.
See? There you go. All right, Donnie. So, yes, it is on my list. This one was one of those underdogs that I went in with just like, I guess we'll see this. There's nothing else that really is out at this time. We can, we have other plans. Whatever the case was, we went in with just barely seeing the trailer as we're going to the theater. And we were just like, okay, I think I know what to expect. Might be a little bit of a horror kind of film, maybe. And completely just blew us out of the waters with this sci-fi story that manages to have interesting character and this whole arc of, having technology in you. How would that feel? It definitely put me in a place where I would want to be in this scenario. I would love to have like a Hey Siri in me, or Okay Google, whatever. That would be awesome. Right. Just being able to have that kind of computer chip. And it just manages to deliver a very interesting plot about, him wanting to get revenge, but at the same time he's being used and he's being watched and he's trying to find out who's doing that. Just a lot of that kind of web of plots that flow naturally. Very interesting characters. As I said, you have the main character who was able to accurately be able to go from himself to being controlled by a robot with his movements. And despite looking like Tom Hardy, he was able to still create, an interesting performance that I wouldn't necessarily say Tom Hardy maybe could have replicated. Who knows? But yeah, it just hit all the marks with the story, and I would love for an Upgrade 2. Due to its box office, I can see why it would not get an Upgrade 2. But yeah, it would be nice to go back into this world and see him develop, see him. He snapped technically, but to see can he come back? Maybe he starts to. I don't know. I don't want to go pitching Upgrade to him right now, but yes, that was a really wonderful film.
Awesome. It's on my list, so where though?
Right. Dun dun dun.
Stay tuned. My number, what is this? 7?
Yes.
My number 7 is Hereditary.
Ooh.
Oh man, I loved Hereditary. Definitely, it was one of my most anticipated films.
Let me just say this right now before it wasn't on my list.
Thank you very much. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. It was produced and distributed by A24, which I love A24's horror films. They did The Witch, they did It Comes at Night. So I was really looking forward to this one, and I just loved it. It was everything I wanted in a horror film. Man, I mean, it centers on a family, and they're kind of dealing with the aftermath of losing the main protagonist's mother, who's kind of got her family mixed into some really weird, bizarre things, and I just loved it. A lot of the kind of horror scenes or the scary scenes were very nightmarish, like they're if I were to describe to someone the scene, I'm sure people would go, "Oh, that sounds like a nightmare like that I've had before," or something. It really was, and it was just really well done. I'm trying to think of like why it was so good. I mean, because it told a story of family, and it was crazy because, like, I mean, spoiler, all this, if we didn't give a spoiler alert, let me give a spoiler alert. But it ended up being like the mom was like involved in this cult, and like she was like, the family got wrapped up into it, and it was just so bizarre and so like it was disturbing. It was really disturbing, and some of the scenes in there were really, really disturbing. And that's what horror is supposed to do. It's supposed to, shock and But it wasn't like, it wasn't like a stupid, cheesy, overly bloodied horror film. It was just like,
hey, we're watching one this upcoming weekend.
it was so well done, and I loved it, and definitely, I mean, obviously, I was going to say definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. Obviously, it was one of my favorite movies of the year. It's on my list, but I thought it was great. Hereditary, check it out.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you to check out all the movies on my list.
I mean, the great thing is that for the most part, these movies that we're talking about have a episode review. So if you want our official thoughts,
That's
and
true.
check these full length episodes out. This is
True.
kind of just a recap.
Most of them,
yeah, most of them. And what is it like?
Well, Roma we didn't do.
Right, like 99% then. That's just one. Okay, so my number 6, it's going to be Love, Simon.
Did you say 99%?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be 90%?
No, I don't know. Anyways, yes. Love, Simon. Is this on your list? Let's just, I guess.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not.
Okay, it's not.
But I liked it.
Okay. So, Love, Simon managed to be one of those stories that just was really nice. It was really nice to kind of get that, it's one of those teen stories, coming of age, finding yourself, being able to appreciate, what you are and who you are, and just had a great performance, and just managed to just be a fun movie overall. That I saw some things in the main character that I was just like, yeah, I had that feeling, that thought, in that age, going into high school and trying to get out and trying to still be like, who am I going to be? Where's my life going to go? And still had that set of friends that were reliable. And they're awesome to hang out with.
Me.
So,
Yeah,
oh my God.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so it just managed to do that very well. And, it's one that the overall message was very strong. And I feel like that connected with a lot of people, and it worked well. Because the message wasn't necessarily how to be yourself or, what being yourself means. It was just about finding acceptance. So the theme was really well done.
Yeah.
And I would love for us Love, Simon too.
You just want all these
I
sequels,
want all these
don't you?
sequels. It would be nice to kind of follow up because, there's a lot of things you can go with. How does the relationship continue on? Does it continue on? Does it have one of those typical high school things that, they break up because whatever? Or, does he go into college? What does he want to do?
Hopefully, yeah.
Right, exactly. Just to kind of follow up, I guess. That's what it did so well, is that you want to... I personally would want to see more.
Okay.
But yes, it was a fantastic overall film. Great performances.
Check it out.
Check it out. Check out our review episode.
Right. It's the first thing you need to be checking out. All right. So my number 6 spot is Creed 2. There it is. So I won't say too much. You said a lot of it, and you hit a lot of good points. Obviously, the cast was great. Sylvester Stallone, Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson. Great cast. Loved them. Loved the chemistry. Coming off of a very strong Creed 1, or just Creed.
I was like, okay.
It was equally as good, if not more so. I don't remember what I said in the episode, but you can listen to our episode on Creed 2 if you want to go into detail here, why me and Oscar loved it so much. But I know I gave it a 5 out of 5 reels, and
Your first.
yeah, my first, and it was that good. I mean, it had action, it had the sport of boxing, it had drama, it had feels. It was the complete package, perfect, like damn near perfect film for me, and loved it. I don't necessarily want to see a Creed 3 because I just don't want them to taint it. Because I feel like it was great for me. Like I mean I would go see it again. I would I'm getting flabbergasted here. I would go see Creed 3, but I don't need to, and they left it on such a high note for me that I want them to just leave it be. So
Okay.
that's my number 6.
All right.
We getting into our top 5?
This is our top 5.
Oh, man, all right.
This is
Oscar,
it.
what's your top 5? I mean,
My
what's your
number
number
5 pick. What'd you say?
I said, what's your top 5? And then I'm going to say, what's your number 5?
Got it. My number 5 pick, The Green Book. Actually, I don't know if it's I don't know. I think it is. The Green Book?
either.
Or is it just Green Book?
It's Green Book.
Just Green Book. I don't know why I put in my notes. Green
on-
Book
it's on
is
my
my
list.
number 5 movie. This one was just a great story to find out, and it's based on a true story. So it was really awesome to see that this actually played out. It definitely just got it like played with your emotions, and you love these characters early on. You start to see that they form, and you want them to stay best friends forever. It just managed to do that, and it managed to bring in some realistic aspects of it about just how this time period was.
It sounded like you said some realistic aspects.
My bad.
It's all good.
But yeah, so it manages to just bring in that realism about what this time period was going through, and just that the whole moment. And yeah, it's tough to say I would want to see a sequel. This is one that I don't need to see a sequel. See, not all of them.
Okay.
Only because they kind of already were like, what more can you really do with these characters? They're real life friends now at this point. So
yeah, they were before.
I don't think
passed.
they're gonna I don't think they're gonna go have another like drive or anything. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they're passed away. So.
Well, I meant like after that moment.
Oh, okay.
No, not like today.
You do know they're dead, right?
I meant like after that like moment, after that Christmas Day.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So yes, yeah, just managed to really be a solid story, great performances. The story just really was one that captures you, I believe. I think we all enjoyed this one, right?
Yeah.
All gave it solid scores. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But yeah, that was my number 5.
Great. It's on my list. My number 5 spot is A Star Is Born.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I loved it. Wow, even Ruben said that 5, really?
It is on my list.
This is one of those that I know, yeah. This is one of those where like my criteria kind of goes out the window, and it's like, this is just one I loved so much. Although it did have good things. I mean, the directorial debut from Bradley Cooper, which I thought he did phenomenal for his first film, and acted in it, which I think he was phenomenal in it as well. I mean, his transformation as an actor is always pleasant to see, and just the way he altered his voice and how he just looked like looked like a walking hangover all the time, and just a hot mess. And he really sang in this film. And he has a beautiful singing voice. And Lady Gaga, I mean, I literally could go on and on. If I wasn't a Lady Gaga fan before, this performance definitely solidified that. She was phenomenal. I loved it. And I mean, it's a story we've seen before. This is like the 4th remake of this film. But it was also its own thing, and did it Bradley Cooper took it in a different direction. I thought it was great. I know a lot of people had an issue with the ending. We knew the ending was coming, but how it was shown to us, maybe some people didn't like. And initially I didn't like it, but it is what it is. I take it for what it is, but I just thought this film was great. And I can watch it over and over and over again. I've seen it I think 3 times now. You know that.
I saw it. I remember that. Oh, no, I got it. Yes.
Yeah.
The IMAX. Yes.
So
I forgot about the IMAX.
Yeah. Saw it in IMAX with our producer. And I just thought it was great. I thought it was a great music. It had original music. And the soundtrack's freaking crazy good. Like I have the soundtrack on my phone. The song, yeah, it was just great. I cannot say anything else other than it was great, and you should go see it. You should see it when it comes out on digital and Blu-ray,
which is in 2 weeks.
Ow.
Okay. Speaking of soundtrack, that's a great segue into my number 4, which is Black Panther.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Oh, it's about to get good. So Black Panther was a surprise. I thought it was going to be a little bit more the cliche superhero origin story, but it manages to really just bring you into this whole new world of Wakanda, and you are just fascinated by it. I wish we can explore more time in Wakanda 2, in Black Panther 2, which is confirmed, so that is happening. Because there was just so many great things.
I could see them doing like that, like years down the line, them just doing like an origin story and just calling it Wakanda.
I could see that. Yeah, that definitely
made me think of that when you said it.
But no, so it just managed to bring that great villain that one of those that you love to hate because they had a good point, but yet they were doing the bad things, and we were rooting for the main character and the hero itself. Black Panther was not necessarily the only one carrying this movie, and I think that's what's fantastic. You had a great supporting cast. You just had a cast of characters that you don't mind seeing more of. I don't think there's any other characters that you just be like, yeah, you know what, I don't need that character. And the villain that did pass in the movie that got killed, Ulysses Claw, I wish there was more of him. That was one of the things that bothered me was that they killed him because I know he has great potential.
Yeah.
But I understand the story for why he was killed. I am accepting that more as I see the movie more often. And yeah, it just has a lot of things that just are memorable about it. The soundtrack is being one of the highlights to it. The soundtrack and the score. The score itself also is amazing as well.
Great.
So I really did enjoy this one. It was a surprise movie because I really thought it was just gonna be like one of those. And I don't want to say any other Marvel movies because then I might get some haters or something. I don't know. I don't want to get anybody attacking me on on our platforms. But I thought it was just gonna be like another first character story movie, and it was not. So, yes, Black Panther.
Gotcha.
Wakanda Forever.
Okay, Wakanda Forever. My number 4 is gonna be Mission Impossible.
Ooh, that's on my list.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't say that anymore.
I know, because now they're gonna be able to like figure out what it is. Man, I didn't think I was gonna like Mission Impossible as much as I did, and I was like super into it the entire film, like the entirety. Like not once did I check the time, not once did I go, okay, let's wrap this up. I mean, I was in it to win it for the entirety of this film. Every twist and every turn got me, but I'm just naturally pretty gullible. So, you know, to some other people, maybe they're like, oh, I saw that coming, but I didn't. I was just like hooked, and I was floored, and I was, oh man.
That opening.
The opening was insane.
Yeah.
What I loved, I'm sorry, let me try to get my words here because I'm spazzing out right now. It was just a great movie, and Justin always throws this term out there, letting a scene breathe. And this film let scenes breathe. There's one scene in particular that's my favorite scene, I think, when it's like a car chase sequence, and he's like, I think he's running away from them on this motorbike or something. And I loved it. There's no music playing. This is one of the things I loved about it. There's no music playing. Normally in like chase scenes, there's like amped up music or something playing in the background, but it wasn't. You just heard the streets and the cars and the tires skidding on the road, and it was a pretty lengthy scene. It wasn't like it, but it was just so like amped up, and I just loved it like that. It was such a great movie. And Tom Cruise was great. He did a lot of his own stunts. He broke his ankle. That's pretty cool. I don't know. It's just a little fact out there. But it's nice. I like getting those little facts about any movie. And it was just super fun. And yeah, man, it's just great. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
So everyone's going to walk away with. Okay, so my number 3 movie, and I don't know, maybe this might be the surprise. It is Aquaman.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I know some people thought it was number 1. No, but it sucks because
I want to know it.
When you hear my second one, then you'll know what my number 1 is. It's unfortunate that it's going to be going down like that. But
okay.
Aquaman is my number 3 movie, and this one was really just exactly what I wanted in terms of both as a comic book fan and as a movie fan. We got this whole new world. We got it visually stunning.
A whole new world.
Did that happen last time too?
I don't know.
I think that happened in the review. But yeah, so we managed to just get introduced to a lot of Aquaman characters that have potential to be more, including Ludi Lin's character.
Yep.
Merc is going to have more. At least that's what the director originally intended for. Mm-hmm. I felt like that was an asterisk. But yeah, no, and I became a fan of Jason Momoa as Aquaman with this movie. I had my reserves because I was just like, but that's not how the character is designed in the comics. That's not the suit he wore, with Justice League and all that stuff. But this movie embraced who he is as a character, embraced the awesome things that you can do with the character rather than just focusing on like jokes of like, oh, why is he lame, or what makes him the weakest DC character when he's not in water kind of stuff. And yeah, it just really managed to bring as a movie a solid story that you really want more of. I mean, I figured we got a little hint of the Seven Kingdoms, but I don't see any of us complaining about going back to one of those Seven Kingdoms. So yeah, and it's a DC movie. That's going to be a little bit of bias there. I won't lie there, but yeah,
keep it real.
But doesn't mean. But there's another superhero movie on my list. So that was my number 3 movie, Aquaman.
All right. My number 3 movie.
But I want to go more. Just kidding. Just kidding.
My number 3 is Upgrade.
Ooh,
Upgrade,
wow.
yeah. Upgrade got a high.
Upgrade.
Okay, B.
Well, you did one song. I'm going to copy you now.
Yeah, man. Upgrade, one of those films that, not a lot of people knew about. Wasn't promoted or marketed heavily.
Daniel didn't know about it.
We didn't know about it until
recently. Yeah.
And we didn't know about it until like the day before we saw it.
Right.
Like we were like,
I think you were just like, there's this movie Upgrade that's out, and you were just like, the trailer. I don't think we've seen the trailer.
Yeah, I hadn't. I don't even know how I stumbled across the trailer. I was just getting lost in YouTube, and I guess it was on there, and I just saw it, and I was like, what? I never even heard about this movie, and I thought it was Tom Hardy at first. They look so much alike. But Upgrade was a really, really great film. You already said a lot, Oscar, so I will try not to repeat what you said, but I think it was really, I think why it's so high on my list is because it just has top marks on like everything. Like the visuals were great, the editing was really good, the cinematography. There's a scene in there where I forgot, I'm trying to remember what the scene was, but like he's like doing a bunch of backflips. And the camera is like spinning with him doing it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is insane!" Like it looked so cool, and he was just a really, I really felt for him because of his situation. His wife died, and then he became a quadriplegic before he got STEM into him. And there was a really emotional scene where his mom was like trimming his beard, and then he just starts crying. And man, I mean, that just broke my heart right then and there, because you could just feel the weight of everything that he's going through, and he's just, all he can do is, he can't do anything but cry at that moment. And it had some really good sentimental touches into it, even though despite it being like an action sci-fi thriller, or not thriller, but action sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember we said when we were reviewing it was that the sci-fi aspect of it was really believable. It wasn't like a cheesy, like stupid, knockoff of like, oh, well, there's this technology that, can make you do whatever you want. Like it came off believable. It was
they set it up in this world that they had a lot of, not to, for lack of a better term, had a lot of upgrades in our modern day, in our day lives, like the car itself. Yeah.
The car, a lot of the technology that we're not so far off from having any of these. We probably could have them right now. Like the AI in the house.
Yeah. That reminded you that there's no milk.
Yep.
You can have that.
Yeah,
now.
So the science, I think, is what really elevated this film. Like for it, I think because we're so close to it, but we still don't have it yet. But it makes it that much more believable. It's not like something that's completely outlandish that we're
not a car hovering. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like the science was really, really believable. And the action was great, and you're on this journey to try to track down the people that ultimately killed his wife, and you kind of, in that sense, I mean, not the most like unpredictable or anything, but it's just a solid film. This was just one of those that, like, if you haven't seen it, like, you guys are all just sleeping on this film. If you've never heard about it, it's called Upgrade, and you need to go watch it, because really, I know I said this about every film, but Upgrade is one of those, like, if you like sci-fi and you like action, you're gonna love this film. And I think it's so underrated. I think it's the most underrated movie of 2018.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That's my number 3.
I agree. Absolutely. All right. So I guess this is kind of tough because it's going to reveal the first one. My number 2 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, so your number 1 is? No.
Yeah, so Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. If you listen to the podcast, I think, if you listen to this episode and you listen to my cue, you probably heard the number 1. But which I could just say in a few minutes, but I don't know why I'm not. Anyway, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was a beautiful Spider-Man film. Really great animation. It really decided to do something different, and it worked out. And I know I said that I wouldn't want to see it be done repeatedly, but I liked it, and because it did it first, it has the right to continue doing it in the future sequels that it wants to. So I really just liked that we got introduced to so many characters. It was able to explain the multi-dimension kind of storylines that I was going to say DC Comics, that comic books love to really do, to kind of expand on their characters, to give them alternate versions, to be able to restart their universe, whatever they want to do. They love to do that, and this one was one that Spider-Man is particularly known for having many, many, many versions of the character. And what we got was a nice sample, but there's a lot of characters that were left out that I'm really excited for us to be able to be introduced to. And it just managed to be a great story about Miles Morales, an introduction to a character that many people really didn't know in the public, and now are probably going to be considering him over Peter Parker, which is absolutely fine. Just managed to bring this whole new set of characters, this whole new lore to the Spider-Man universe that I feel like people are ready for. People are going to be okay with. I don't think anyone's going to have an hesitation when it becomes live action. So it really just had a great overall movie like experience as well, seeing it in theaters, and an interesting soundtrack. It's not one of my favorite soundtracks, but it definitely just was fun to be able to have that kind of that experience of walking out and being like, I feel like I am like about 7 years old and I want to go get all the Spider-Man toys out there right now. I did think about it. I didn't go do it. I thought about it. Then I saw the price tags. Then I saw my financial status and the price tag of these figures. But no, it was really awesome to kind of get that joy again of like, this is why I love comic books and I want more. I really like was just thinking of like Spider-Man for like the next few days following the movie. Mm-hmm. And I was just one of those that brought me back into feeling like a little kid watching it, and I'm waiting for more. I'm excited for more. I know we have a lot of Spider-Man things to go watch, like those animated shows, those the original trilogy, the Andrew Garfield. Like there's a lot of things to really keep myself busy with Spider-Man. I wish he was a DC character, but he's a one Marvel character that really had an impact on my childhood. I know I say this because I remember I had a Spider-Man figure that actually was like the toy that I would take around with me because he was very posable. So he was like, I was able to like put him in whatever position I was fighting my bad guys with. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I didn't have any bad guys. I had to imagine them. Like I had to sometimes be like punched, and there was no one to punch, so it was just like a random air punch.
Can like get like something like an item to just.
I wasn't one of those that can just go get like a random plush toy and be like, oh, this is Mr. Clutchy Bear. Oh no, it's Spider-Man. Like it wasn't like that. It just managed to just leave an awesome mark on me.
Nice. Love it. All right. Well, getting down to
top two. This is it. What's yours?
My number 2 is Green Book.
Ooh.
Yeah. Green Book. Yeah, it scored really high here. I thought it was just such a well done film. It was a true story of 2 real life people. And this was another one where I was like, when I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, it looks like good. It looks like it'll be a good inspirational story. But man, did it just like hit me in my heart. And it just told this beautiful story, of this friendship developing by the two most unlikely people you would ever think would be friends in that time period.
Yes.
And they're going on this journey on this music tour in the Deep South. You had that, and just to see these two, and these people, Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen, they couldn't be playing two more different characters. Like their characters were just so opposite. Tony, who was like this rough, tough, like city slicker from New York, Italian American, and then, I'm blanking right now.
Oh no. From Mahershala Ali's character.
Yeah, what was his name? Doc.
2 words, wasn't it?
Doc.
Don Shirley.
Wasn't his name
Don
Donnie
Shirley.
too?
No,
Don Shirley.
Yes.
Well, his name was, but they called him Don. Yeah. But Don Shirley, who was, came from a. Well, he wasn't wealthy, but he was really more polished and eloquent and proper, and but to just see them go through these hardships and these obstacles that they were enduring, all this racism and all this negativity and hatred that was thrown at Don Shirley, and Tony kind of having to safely transport him from one venue to the next, where they were like just treating him so bad. And despite all that, there, to see Don Shirley try to really just maintain his dignity and really try to teach Tony that there's a reason, why I'm doing this, and we have to. He says it in the film, kind of, we have to maintain our dignity. I forgot what the actual quote was, but he said you only win when you maintain your dignity.
Yeah.
And just to see the bond that was developed between them was just it was so great. It was well performed. I mean, I will be so mad if both of these guys don't get nominated come Oscar time.
Hopefully win. Hopefully.
I would love to see that.
I'd be okay with that.
I know there's some tough competition, but I think they both just delivered something so special, and it's such a beautifully told story, uplifting, and I think everyone should see it. Like, I think it's one of those important films that people should see. Like, it has a really beautiful message, really just hits home, and
despite being a true story in a time period, it can instantly be a classic.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, it just blew me out of the water. So
100% agree.
Green Book was great.
Absolutely. Yes. So with my number one pick, it was one that Donnie mentioned. Those that were able to put it together.
I know what it is.
What is it, Donnie?
Mission Impossible.
Yes. Mission Impossible Fallout is my number one film for 2018. This one was just one that I've seen the previous Mission Impossible movies, so I knew what we get out of it, and I was excited for that. And it delivered. So I think that in itself was already a great thing. We got introduced to a new character with Henry Cavill and that villain that was like a good guy, and you wanted him to be a good guy first, and then you're just like, no, F that, he's a bad guy. Kill him and like that all kind of things. And these characters, I mean, yes, I've seen them before, so I already got, my personal opinions about them. Like, yes, I like him. I don't really know him too much. I don't know how I feel about him. And we had just a great plot, a great shock factors that worked. And not to say they were original, all of them, but they still worked. They still got your juices up. You still were just like, oh man, they got him. And it's just like, oh man, I knew they were going to get away with it, but I didn't think they were going to catch him at the last second. And it still has that excitement with the whole bomb chase sequence of like, he's going to save the day. It would be too different, too probably unsatisfactory to have them lose. So you knew they were going to save it, and it was just a matter of how they're going to do it. They're on a plane, and they have to stop the bomb with driving the plane. Just like, how is that going to happen? And yeah, Tom Cruise does his own stunts, so that's even more to appreciate when he's like doing his own work. But yeah, no, it was just an overall great movie experience. I would totally be down for another Mission Impossible. I know Tom Cruise has delivered 6 already, so maybe there's no need for a 7th one, but I will leave that up to him to know if there's a 7th one or not. There is no official announcement for a 7th one, but yeah, overall that just managed to really bring a great experience. I think also part of it was introducing you to the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah.
That on in itself leaves a lasting mark on me seeing this movie. And still, even when I rewatch it, all the movies that were in the top 10, when I rewatch them, I get excited and I get, that thrill again. But particularly this one, this is the one that, even though I know what's going to happen, I still get excited for that twist. Like that opening moment when they thought they tricked the bad guy into thinking that he had won and they had lost. And then as soon as they got what they needed, they showed him that he was like, just kidding. You actually were just in here for 5 minutes or whatever the case was. That was the first shock, and that was just a great start. And yeah, just managed to really overall bring just a great, fun, all-around movie. Despite being like one of those classic actions that you know what you're getting, still managed to deliver. Okay.
Well, there it is. That's Oscar's top movie.
That's my top 10.
All right. Well, mine is. Do you want to guess my top number one?
It hasn't been said, huh?
It was on your list.
Oh, it was.
It's gonna be shocking, I think, to you.
It was on my list. Isle of Dogs.
No.
Which one did I not love? Simon?
No.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't guess anymore.
Okay, my number one was Black Panther.
Ah.
Yeah, Black Panther. This is a movie where if you look...
That did shock me. Huh? I was not thinking it was on the list.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, you didn't think it was on my list at all?
No.
Yeah. This was one of those where if you look at everything across the board, it's like A+ for me personally. I mean, like the characters, all of like we love, like you were saying earlier, there wasn't a character we were like, oh, we didn't really need them, or oh, I could do without. Like every character was vital to the story. I feel like
I meant my love, Shuri.
Huh?
I meant my love, Shuri.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The action, check. Visuals, the CGI, check. Some people, were like looking at it with a really, really fine magnifying glass.
Third act. That's a whole.
And pointing out some things, but I'm like, whatever. Like, come on, they're like building this whole world of Wakanda, and it was gorgeous. The editing and the cinematography, check. The score, check. Like the soundtrack was insane. I mean, like just the soundtrack alone is amazing. Check. One of the most listened to albums of the year. Everything was great. Everything was great about this film. It had action. It had heart. It had there was some kind of possible love romance going on. Potentially between Chadwick Boseman and Lupita Nyong'o. So I hope that we can I hope that blossoms into something.
Yeah, well, it depends on what's going to happen with some new toys that they have.
Oh, well, we'll see. But it was just a really, really well done movie. And this is like, I knew nothing about Black Panther before seeing this film. And we got to see it at the Chinese theater, which is really exciting. We saw that with Justin. And it was just great. And I don't even need to talk about just the cultural impact it's made. Just the feats that it's been able to accomplish. Ryan Coogler being like the first director to get that large of a budget for a film. Being the first black director to get that large of a budget for a film, all black cast,
the highest grossing superhero film.
Yeah, I mean it's
standalone, not Avengers.
It's just the impact that it's made and things that it's been able to overcome is just incredible. And I think and Black Panther is now just infused into culture, especially right now. We saw a trailer where for What Men Want, and the little kid was like Wakanda forever when he had the underwear on his head. I mean, it's just like. It's just being infused everywhere, and everybody knows Black Panther, and a lot of people who, it's like, it's really great because for, it's really true, not to get all political or whatever, but, a lot of these studios and people that, like finance the film, like they don't want to put money into black films. They just don't. That's why you have so many like straight to DVD, black movies with like D-list actors. It's like that nobody sees because they don't want to put the money there. But it's like Ryan Coogler was like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. And sure as hell he did. And it was incredible. The movie was so good. Loved the cast. The actors were great. It was just such a feat and such a great film. And I think even if you don't like superhero films or you're like, oh, well, I've never seen any of the other MCU films, it's like that doesn't matter. Like you can see this and love it and enjoy it. The villains were great. You said Ulysses Claw, he got killed off pretty prematurely, which I think a lot of people agree with. And but even in the short time that he was in the film, he was a really good villain. I wish they would have like kept him around so we could have seen what other mayhem he would have caused. And then obviously Michael B. Jordan is Killmonger. Great, really well developed. It was just a cool ass movie, and I think it was the movie of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's our top 10. We did it.
That was it.
We came. We saw. We conquered. Ruben, what was your favorite movie of 2018? Just throw some out there. Just a couple.
We can help you out.
Love
Simon.
Simon.
Okay. A Star is Born. Okay.
Game Night.
Game Night. Really? Best movie of 2018? Like one of your favorites?
Yeah.
Okay. Game Night. No.
That did come off a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I was just okay. Those are good ones. Those are solid ones.
Green Book.
Green Book.
I'll probably say those like the
Top 5. There you go. Not in that order, but yeah.
Okay.
yeah. I think I'm
All right. Those are great ones. Game Night was really good. We liked that one.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's one we want to see a sequel.
Well, that one's exciting for the directors because they're going to be doing Flash. So,
there we go. Well, that was fun, guys. Love those top 10 lists. They're always great. Yeah. Listeners, definitely let us know what your favorite movies of 2018 were. You can just send us a couple, or if you're feeling extra motivated, send us your whole top 10 list. We'd love to see it. We'd love to compare it to ours. Yeah, sorry. Oscar, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm excited for for closing 2018 and looking forward to 2019.
Man, there are some movies that I cannot wait for.
First runner-up here we have coming up this Friday, or I guess today, whatever day you're listening to the episode on. But yeah,
2019 is going to be a good year for film.
Put all those away, Donnie. Put them in the shelf. Put them away. No more.
We're done with
no more 2018 movies.
I know, we're done. It's all about 2019.
I mean,
now.
they're going to be still relevant for the Oscars, so we're not done talking about
That's
2018
true. We're
movies.
going to have a couple Road to the Oscar episodes.
In terms of, is it a favorite or is it not? It's all fresh. That's exciting.
We'll see. We will see. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you, everyone.